Welcome to another episode of the Overrated Experience. I'm your host, Kyle Blondin. It's a wild time in sports. World Cup action, NFL action. We're going to get all to it. But first, the Overrated Experience is your sports betting podcast for the square bettor, the amateur, the non-pro. The bettors looking to make a few dollars, looking to be a better, and hopefully join this community of square bettors so we can all learn and be better and get paid out. That's the goal. Follow the Overrated Experience on Twitter at Overrated Experience. That is, I'm going to give you the real Twitter handle. Overrated Experience was gone, so it had to be on Twitter. Overrated EXPER2 to follow us on Twitter. Give us your thoughts, picks, ideas for the show, anything you got here. So we're going to get into it. Overrated Experience is glad to be back with you. I got to share the last weekend coming off the NFL and World Cup, all the games that were going on, nonstop betting action, morning, afternoon, nighttime, awesome. You go on a heater. You have a weekend where everything falls in place for you. And last weekend was mine. I know it's going to end soon, but I love to do teasers in the NFL. I find them entertaining. Maybe they're not so good based on my results. I've won one so far this season, and usually I'll do a 1 and 4 o'clock teaser. However, this weekend actually cashed out on 2 teasers, well, the 1 o'clock games and the 4 o'clock games. But I can tell you that the teasers are definitely not for the faint of heart. It's you start getting the shakes a little bit, and probably need down a few more cervezas to get through it to go on the wild ride. Some of my wild rides included, I didn't think I was going to get the over in the Washington Giants game. Late touchdown by Washington secured that. Looked like it was going to end with nothing going on. 3 points scored in the third quarter heading into fourth. Got lucky there. Also in the 4 o'clock games, I took Seattle and teased it down to just win. And they were struggling against the Rams and had under a minute to go touchdown to pull it out in the end, which I tweeted this out on Overrated Experience that if the Rams would have defeated the Seahawks, I would have declared the Seahawks an absolute fraud. Their season was all for nothing, fraudulent, Geno Smith fraudulent. If they let the 49ers pull away and lose to the ridiculous state that the Rams are in. So that didn't happen. Your boy here got paid out, which is great. And, won a few same game parlays on some of the World Cup action, including Portugal smashing Switzerland, which paid me out pretty quick, which I like. Brazil turning the gears on, crushing South Korea 4-0 right off the bat, and that was over early. So good weekend / early part of the week. So we'll see what this week holds, and hopefully maybe the insight, especially in the NFL as the season's gone on. There's a big separation as the teams that are chasing the playoffs, teams that are looking at the draft and looking at dumping salary, that maybe it makes it a little easier to make a choice or two. We'll see if I can carry this on into this week. But anyway, a little bit of a recap as well. When it comes to some of the stories, I like to talk about some gambling-related stories. I mentioned in our last episode that the UFC in Ontario, where I live, and many of our my colleagues here that like to bet sports, let's just say degenerates. These degenerates like to bet sports, cannot bet UFC action based on some of the government's watchdog, ARCO, Alcohol and Gaming Commission, that is saying that, hey, service providers do not offer UFC until they get their ducks in order. And those ducks in order include irregularities in policies where allowing folks close to the fighters, coaches, managers, et cetera, being able to bet without having restrictions. My understanding the UFC sent out a memo, the CFO sent out a memo basically doing that, banning anybody connected, a code of conduct where gambling is forbidden for anybody associated with the fighter. And I don't know when that will satisfy the Ontario government, but it has not to this point. So there's a big card, UFC 282. The vacant light heavyweight championship is up for grabs. Blankowicz versus I can't even say that. Kaliev. I'm just going by the score since I can't use Bet365 or FanDuel to see odds because they were pulled from my view. The score, which also does business in New Jersey, so I'm seeing the American odds. And Blankowicz is a plus 220, and Kaliev is minus 270 for the main event. And we have Pate Pimblett is on looks like part of the co-main event, minus 210 against Gordon. It's plus 175. But going forward, I'm going to look for some potential folks who can talk MMA. I think the money in MMA or the value there is probably in not necessarily the main event card. However, the prelims may find value. A lot of those prelims usually have fighters up and coming, looking to establish, and the UFC does a lot of fight matching for fighters potentially on their way down. Maybe a name fighter you may know, and that's where the opportunity is. So I don't have that depth of knowledge in UFC, but looking to find some asset or some expert in there that can maybe help us out with that going forward. But until then, I can't bet it anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So that's the UFC news. It's related to gambling news. Also, in relation to World Cup, just some thoughts on some of what we think in the World Cup. I had taken a few wagers on the Spain-Morocco game where Morocco wound up winning in penalty kicks. Now, here's one of the major mistakes that I know I made. I walked into that game knowing that Spain needed to jump out early on a team like Morocco. Morocco's the underdog. Morocco was going to build belief that as long as they stayed in the game, whether it be down even just a single goal or had it tied like they did, that they would keep battling. And as that game went to the second half, and as that game went into extra time, they had a belief that they could take it home. Spain, I had to believe that Spain was going to score. They were going to overcome the failures that I'm seeing ever since they beat Costa Rica 7-0 in the opening game. I kept putting more live and play. Let me put more. They got to score. They got to get shots on target. This team is a former World Cup champion many years ago. In my lifetime, but many years ago, Euro champions. They have not evolved the way they play. They play a ball possession strategy, taking no chances. There is no risk involved in their game. They want to pass into the net. They're looking for any opportunity, any open space. If no open space, they go back and recycle the ball. That is a failure to evolve their program. They passed their way out of the tournament and lost to a team like Morocco. Going into extra time, they had 30 minutes to put that game away and forget about the first 90. They couldn't put a shot on target. That's how disgusting that is. 10 years earlier, there's a potential that the way they played, there is value there. But these programs like the Moroccos and other programs have caught up for the most part in relation to being able to run, be in good shape, know those tactics, play defense, and really allow Spain to pass the ball around. They fucked up huge. They screwed me over, but they're terrible to watch, frustrating to watch. You do want to throw something to the TV when you watch Spain play. Absolutely disgusting. They deserve to be out. And you know what? They need to evolve. I know that Enrique, the coach, he got canned. Goodbye. You suck. Get out of here. Beat it. All right, done. So that's kind of a thought on that. And I'll have picks going into the weekend on the quarterfinals of the World Cup and some teams, on the rise. Portugal might be that team that may have that run in them. They seem like they got things going and they're scoring. And our boy Ronaldo can't keep his mouth shut. He's getting issues with my team, Man United, he's gone there. Couldn't work it out there, and then suddenly with the Portuguese team that he's played for years, he got benched. He didn't even start against Switzerland, and that's a problem. He's trying to sell himself going into the January transfer window. Well, he doesn't need a transfer window. He can be signed anywhere, but teams of any stature that may pick him up for the rest of the year, I think he is burning bridges very fast. So we'll see how it plays out, but imagine a Ronaldo-Messi final. That'd be an epic finale to at least Messi's career, because it looks like that's his last international game will probably be that World Cup. All right, let's get into actual picks, and let's see if I can make some money. You hear these picks, and you decide if they're any value or not. But this is what I'm going to go with. So I'm going to start off with the World Cup, since that kicks off on Saturday. And first game up, kicks on Saturday. It kicks off tomorrow on Friday, 10 a.m., Croatia, finalist 4 years ago, losing to France in the World Cup final, take on the plus 175 to win the World Cup, Brazil, favorites. And Brazil's a minus 600 to advance, to qualify. Croatia's plus 400. This is a weird one because Brazil finally turned it on in the previous game, smashing their opponent up 4-0 right off the bat. All tournament they've put pressure, held possession, but they could not put it home. They could not light up the scoreboard. But I guess what? That's changing. I think that they're going to go on a run here. Croatia is tough. I think they're going to put up a fight. These guys are veterans. They know what they're doing. They got the experience. It's going to happen. They're not South Korea. South Korea had a decent run, but they're not in the same league as Croatia. I think Croatia will put up more of a fight. But I do like the over here, the 2.5. But I want a same game parlay this 2.5 with Brazil 6 shots on target, which would be a plus 146 payout. So I like that a lot. I'm gonna put some coins on that one. Maybe put some Bitcoin. Maybe put some cryptocurrency on there. See what happens. And then at 2 o'clock, we got everybody's watching Messi, right? Like the Messi, we want him to move on. We want him to have a run at the World Cup. He's starting to really picking up goals in the last 2 games. Netherlands are plus 130 to advance, minus 163 for Argentina. This is tricky. I believe Argentina will take this. However, Argentina is shaky. They're like one of the powerhouses that I don't feel they're locked in. I feel they're very all over the place, and they could come out flat as much as they could come out flying. So the bet I like here is I do like the over-under of 2.5. Argentina probably going up. The Dutch chasing. And also add in let's go with over 1.5 plus 7.5 corners. We'll get you a plus 121. I'm a little iffy on the 3 goals. 2 goals I feel very comfortable with, and you throw in 8 corners in there. I feel good about that. Plus 21 to me is the value. Moving on to Saturday. Morocco. I think Morocco, who's going to take on Portugal right now, is at a state where I think, this is extra. This is all bonus. This is all house money we're playing with now that we're at the quarterfinals of the World Cup. So I think their tournament's run its course. I think Portugal, the difference here is Morocco is going to come into this game with the same strategy of, I'll let you have the ball. Go ahead, Spain. This is not Spain. Portugal is is ruthless. They will attack. They will put shots on target. I think Morocco will be overwhelmed and be forced to chase, unlike they were against Spain. I do like that this game goes over 2.5 goals. But what I have here is the bet that I think is going to pay off, though, and it gets into a plus, is going to be Portugal qualifying. Even though I like the 2.5 goals, Portugal putting up some numbers, I would stick to do 1.5. So Portugal qualifying this game to go over 1.5 goals. And Portugal scores very early. At least they came out flying in the previous game against Switzerland. I like to put at least a goal, I think, from Portugal. I'll take it from Morocco. I don't really give a damn. So those 3 together in the same game parlay. Portugal qualify, goal over in the first half, and the total in the game over 1.5, which puts you in plus money. So go with that. The heated game, the heated rivalry, and we're going to see on 2 o'clock on Saturday. England, France. This is probably the heavyweight matchup. France, I think you can't argue, is the favorite. Obviously, the odds say they're a minus 138 to qualify. Well, England is a plus 110. But I think England's tournament ends here. I could be wrong, but I'm not going to do a same game day parlay on this. I'm going to do 3 separate wagers. When I see Mbappe at plus 190 as an anytime scorer, I think there's huge value in this. This guy is hungry. He is ready to score. He knows playing England. The spotlight is there. He is going to go for it. And if he doesn't get that goal, you know he's going to have like at least 2 to 3 shots on target, multiple, maybe 6-7 shots, attempts on goal. I think we're good there. So Mbappe is good value at plus 190. I do think there's going to be goals in this game. I think it'll at least be 3. As you can see, I like overs. Plus 104 there. I go with it. I got to believe this game's going to get a little chippy. 3.5 cards is not out of the question. Minus 115. I like the over, and I like that to close out fairly simply. So some good action there for a World Cup. Just if you guys are these are odds by FanDuel, by the way. If you look at the Golden Boot still, Mbappe is still favored. He currently has 5 goals. He's minus 175 because he does have a 2-goal lead. Richarlison from Brazil is a plus 650. He has 3 goals. Messi has 3 goals. Giroud has 3 goals. And they're all falling behind Mbappe. Gakpo for the Netherlands has 3. Rashford has 3. So I got to think the only shot here to chase Mbappe is probably Richarlison for Brazil at plus 650. I can see if the Croatia game gets out of hand that maybe the team starts feeding him the ball, and that's probably the only shot. I don't see Messi, maybe a goal here or there. I just don't see him catching up to Mbappe, even though he's plus 1,000. I don't think there's much there. Like I said, Brazil is the heavy favorite, plus 175. France is second with plus 400. I like France, by the way. Brazil, I think, is going to fall at some point. And just other World Cup thoughts, if I have any in my head. No, I don't. So we're going to move on to the NFL and Sunday's action and see what we got here. I'm going to try to tighten it up. I might have a few notes just to mention if you're not keeping up with what's going on. I'll quickly run through here, and I'll leave you with 5 picks that I feel solid, I feel comfortable with. I'm going to call them the 5-finger discount picks because obviously I'm giving them out for free. See the joke, see the parallel. It's that's pure comedy. So the first game, Baltimore Pitt. No thoughts on that, but just to note, Lamar Jackson looks like he's not going to play. Very unlikely. There seems to be some sort of shadow of a doubt that somebody's not 100% confirming that, but I would consider him out. Cleveland, Cincinnati, interesting matchup. I'm a little scared on this one. I don't know what you're going to get with Deshaun Watson. He wasn't that good in his return against Houston, but you got to remember he is a high-end quality quarterback. I mean, the first game he played against his old team in Houston. I don't know if it actually happened or not, but he had a bunch of the folks suing him in a suite in Alliance Stadium, like in Houston, watching the game. How much is that affecting all those scenarios on the way he played? Probably had some impact. I think he feels comfortable going to Cincinnati. I think he gets a little better. That's why I'm not going to take the -6 for Cincinnati. I like this game to tease. So take that -6. It's actually -5.5 now, and drop it to Cincinnati as a plus 0.5. Cincinnati's on the rise. They're getting back into that conversation with Buffalo, Kansas City. They're playing at home. Joe Burrow looking great. So I like the lock for a win. I just didn't like the 6 points. It might be closer, and Deshaun Watson may come out flying. So take that one to the bank. Houston, Dallas. What I do like is adding this bet I'm going to mention in a parlay, and that is race to 30 points. Houston is absolute trash. They're lighting it up like a Christmas tree as far as giving up points. Dallas is lighting up points. They scored 33 points against the garbage Indianapolis Colts that need a tear down. And 30 points, not out of the realm. I don't see Houston coming close to that. 30 points for Dallas is 150. So I think there's value there. Lock that in. Also, Jacksonville, Tennessee. Just watch out. Trevor Lawrence seems unlikely to play, but I wouldn't be surprised if for some reason he plays on Sunday. But something to note that Trevor Lawrence may not be a part of that game. And also to note, Tennessee fired their general manager, and they have a winning record. But hey, it's the world of the NFL. Interesting game of the day. Interesting spread of the week is that the Detroit Lions are a 2-point favorite over the Minnesota Vikings. You know, the Lions have a losing record, and Minnesota leads the division, right? That's quite peculiar to why that line is the way it is. But it is to note that Detroit is on the upswing. They lost to Buffalo, but they think they won their last 5 out of 6 or 7. But they've been doing really well, and I think the betting community knows that. And frankly, Minnesota has no credibility. I think when they got smashed by Dallas, and even though they won against New England, allowing the Patriots to tear them up, I got to believe that the betting public just is shitting all over the Minnesota Vikings, leading to this spread. And it was going up. It opened up -1, went to -2.5, and then dropped. But everything's indicating the money's on the Lions here. I think this is going to be a shootout. I'm not ready to put money on the over, but the bet I will put money on, and I do point out as part of my 5-finger discount, is Jared Goff over passing yards, 266.5. I think Goff's been playing well. This number of 266, he has been up and down. I'm not going to tell you that there's a trend of 3 straight games where he's got this total. He's been fluctuating up and down. I just see this one as a game where they've already played Minnesota. They're at home. Dan Campbell remembers the way they lost on that opening day to Minnesota. They're not early in the season in Minnesota. They're not happy. I think they'll keep going. Jared Goff's had a solid season. He'll have some long passes. 266.5. I like it. Also, though, on the Minnesota side, and if I think this is going to be a track meet, and Detroit and Minnesota are going to be trading points, Jefferson. How do you not take Justin Jefferson over 92.5 yards? Many times he's going to get the reception, run after the catch. So part of my 5-finger discount is going to be Justin Jefferson to sail pass into triple digits to pass the 92.5 yard receiving mark. Interesting there. Another game I like, Jets visit Buffalo, the Bills. Von Miller, gone for the year. Huge loss. The only reason why you brought Von Miller in was for that playoff run, and that's gone, which now puts Buffalo pretty much back where they started. They obviously still have a chance to make a run, but it would have been better obviously having Von Miller chasing Patrick Mahomes or Burrows around, but that's not happening. But I do like the Jets and Bills to fly over the 43 mark. I don't know why the number went down from 44 to 43. I don't see any weather issues per se. I like Mike White, Jets quarterback, to move the ball, put points on the board. 43 in a Buffalo matchup with Josh Allen seems very low to me. I like this game to go over, part of the 5-finger discount. So just keep that in mind. I didn't put this as part of the 5-finger discount, but if you're doing a teaser and you have the Eagles at -7, put them down to -1 over the Giants. And this is, again, with Barkley now potentially having some neck issues. So he might not even play. And that's key for the Giants because it's going to put more on Daniel Jones' shoulders, which I don't think that's a good idea based on what's happened the last few weeks. So the Eagles should probably sail to another victory. So that's a tease option, but not part of the 5. Just thought it's kind of a little bonus conversation. Nothing much on KC Denver. Denver's a train wreck. Kansas City should easily win this game. Carolina Seattle. This is like a trap game. I feel this is like a game that Seattle should have, but Carolina seems to be getting better. The more guys to get rid of, the McCaffreys, the Mayfields, they seem to be in a better situation. Interesting enough about Carolina Mayfield, I was just watching the Thursday nighter. Baker Mayfield gets picked up by the Los Angeles Rams, and within 48 hours, he knows enough of the playbook to lead them to victory over the Raiders, who absolutely choked. The Raiders were 5-7, looking to get back into the playoff hunt. They were a team on the rise. I lost big on them in Seattle in overtime. They ran all over Seattle, and they scored 13 points in the first half and can't do nothing. And they get another field goal, but they can't do nothing in the second half. Absolutely disgusting. Bad decision making. But what you're not going to see, and I want you to watch these highlights, and I guarantee you won't see it, is that Baker Mayfield, late in that drive with no timeouts, deep in his own territory, was sacked by Crosby. And what happened was, I can't remember the name of the defensive player on the Raiders. Because he hits the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hands, and guess what? Flag on sportsmanlike, 15 yards, automatic first down. Now, of course, you're going to call that as a penalty because it's time sensitive, right? They need to set the ball. The Rams need to move, and Dummy knocks the ball out. He doesn't knock that ball out. The Raiders win that game. They may make the playoffs. That one moron, with the dumbest move in Raider season, for the Raider season, flicks a ball for no reason, may have cost them a potential playoff spot. He's got to go. You can't have a guy like that just doesn't have the brain capacity to figure out what is and what is not the best way to handle, a late game situation. Pathetic. Anywho, moving on. I don't really have any plays for Tampa, San Fran, but just Brock Purdy, Garoppolo is done. Maybe come back for the playoffs, but Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy will be quarterback in the 49ers. Tampa Bay struggling to get with their offense despite a late win on the Monday nighter over the Saints. Should be an exciting game on the Sunday nighter, though. I haven't decided which way I'll go on this, and it's not part of the 5-finger discount. And that is the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins take on the LA Chargers. The Miami Dolphins opened as a 3-point favorite. We're up to a 3.5-point favorite. Now back to a 3-point favorite. So Miami is the favorite. I don't know if that's you're on the road. Ooh, I don't know, man. You got Khalil Mack. You got pass rushing, chasing down Tua. I don't know if that's going to be how it plays out, but Miami faltered against San Francisco. Maybe exposed a few things that the Chargers can take advantage of. But I'll probably look at that is I'll bet on this game based on how my Sunday goes, on how successful I am, how much money I put on that game will be dictated by the rest of the day. And that's something you would never hear from a professional bettor. You'd only hear that from a square, and that'd be a guy like this guy. So keep that in mind, what the value of this podcast is. And we're a community. We stick together and share ideas. We want to get better, but we still have these bad habits of betting what's on TV. New England, Arizona. 1.5-point dog. Arizona has nothing going on. New England really has nothing going on in the last few games. They've struggled to move the ball. So again, this game being where I bet may be dictated based on how my weekend goes. I might even put a little money on Arizona, but it's not part of the 5-finger discount. This is more of a look ahead and see what happens going forward. All right. Well, just to recap the 5-finger discount of picks that you can take whatever way you want to take them, if that's what you choose to do, just to critique them or whatever. But this is where I'm going. That's the purpose of me sharing them. Cincinnati tees down to plus 0.5. Dallas raced to plus 30, minus 150. That's 50 would be the first one to 30 points over the Houston Texans. Jared Goff in the Detroit Lions Minnesota game. The pass over 266.5 yards. I love the Bills and Jets to fly over 43.5 points. And also, circling back to the Lions Minnesota game, Justin Jefferson receiving yards over 92.5. I will say out of the 5, I guess, you know what, maybe the favorite should be the thumb, or should be like the pinky play. The pinky play is the top out of the 5 is going to be the Bills Jets. Let's just say that. Let's go with the pinky play. It's going to be the Bills Jets. That's the one, if you're going to pick out of the 5 to follow to see if I'm right. That would be the one that I'm banking on, that I'm betting the mortgage on, but don't tell my wife. All right, so the Overrated Experience has concluded for another week. We wanted to keep this short and simple. Want to also add on in the future as football season winds down, try to get into obviously college basketball, more NBA, more NHL. I try to figure out a way to somehow, podcast once a week and give plays maybe leading into the weekend. But I also want to take a crack at, I love mid-afternoon bowl games throughout the month of December and January. I have no plays right now. I know many of the quarterbacks and top-end talent is declaring for the NFL draft, which radically changes a lot of these NCAA football matchups and bowl games. So I'll take a crack at maybe doing some analysis and trying to come up with some picks. But I suggest you do too, and give us some feedback again back at Twitter at Overrated EXPER2, so we can hear your thoughts and or special insight to some of these matchups. So I'm going to say goodbye, over and out, and we'll talk again. Bye bye.